EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchich here with your outlook for January 18th, 2022. We have a lot to cover in this video because there's some sneaky things showing up here just in the next 7 days that we need to discuss. I'm actually quite thrilled about one of the for the weekend prospects. So we'll get into that in the video, but there might be something before that that we have to keep an eye on as well. Today is going to be a partly cloudy day, as you can see here. 30 to 38 is the spread of temperatures from northwest to southeast, so a little colder than average for this time of year, and partly cloudy skies. We are going to have breezy conditions early on and some wind gusts that will still reach up to 30 miles per hour. Probably most of that's before noon, then we start to see a gradual decline in those wind speeds during the course of the afternoon and then heading into the early evening hours. And then overnight, we should have the winds turned fairly calm. And the overnight temperatures are not going to drop as much because we're going to have increasing clouds later at night ahead of our next system, which is a cold front that's associated with this system moving through the Great Lakes. And this is going to do so during the day on Wednesday. We'll have mostly cloudy skies on Wednesday, 38 to 45 because we're ahead of that front. So you get a little bit of a spike ahead of the front with southwesterly winds. And then as soon as the front crosses on Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, those temperatures will then back off again. So it's just a one-day spike ahead of a cold front. This is typical. You have this in the middle of long-standing cold patterns as well. It's just a reinforcing shot of cold air coming in. So I move this forward, and there is a wave along this boundary, very weak wave, that is noted on just about every single piece of guidance, okay? The European model is not really too thrilled with it. It's a very weak, flattened wave moving along that boundary, and you don't even have an L here, but I can tell you it's there, just looking at the upper level of vorticity with this. So the precipitation in our area is mainly in the form of rain, and that is, at least on the European model, and that moves through on Wednesday night, right? And early Thursday morning, and then that's out of here. It doesn't bring any of the snow in here, and then this boundary settles off to our south and east Thursday night, okay? Here's what the NAM shows, though. This is the NAM 3 kilometer that came in this evening. For the last couple of runs, that it's been suggesting this wave is still a flat wave, but it has a little bit more moisture with it, and this wave moves along the boundary to the north and east, and if this boundary moves through, as soon as it does, the temperatures are going to drop, and that's going to be overnight Wednesday night. But it has this wave staying kind of intact here and giving you some anafrontal snow on the backside of this cold front as it moves through. So it's not a lot, but it could be certainly something that we have to keep on top on if this is something that sneaks up on us. It would probably be something we'd send last-minute alerts for on Wednesday. Probably not a map deal with this one. We'll see. It might be. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gets a quick couple of inches out of this, depending on where that tracks. But this is the 3 kilometer NAM, and you can see where that's headed in this general direction. The boundary is, of course, over around 95 at this point. By the time we get to 7 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, so it's just something to keep an eye on. But it's just this area, this little wave right here, that could give you a little bit of snow, maybe an inch or two, or snow, maybe 3, not out of the question. So we'll keep an eye on that just in case. But I will say that the NAM is the one that's the most aggressive with this, and it's not necessarily going to be correct in showing that in future runs. We'll continue to monitor that. Today's, of course, only Tuesday, so we have time. Certainly 24 hours to look at it of runs to see what this does, okay? So let's get back to the European model, because I want to show you the interesting setup for the weekend. And nothing is really on board at the time this video is recorded, and I'm doing it early because I need some rest tonight, so I need to get this video up a little earlier than I normally do. So I'm using the 12Z guidance here for the European model and some of the 18Z ensembles that came in. So this is what it showed, okay? You had a area low pressure that formed along the tail of the boundary as this moved through, and I can show you on a wider view actually what it's doing. This is looking at the national view. So there is an area low pressure that's going to form right along this boundary right here. There's a piece of energy that's going to come in through Northern California and dive down like this, okay? So that's where it's coming from. And so the cold front moves through, right? Along this just turns into a little area low pressure on the tail end of this frontal boundary, which is still sitting right here. There's the boundary. It's still sitting there. So it's going to move along that boundary according to the European model here, and kind of do one of these numbers here like this, okay? Right? And everywhere from DC to Boston gets into a good snow event out of this, okay? So that is a possibility, but I think it's a stronger than usual possibility, and I'll tell you why here in a second. Here is the GFS Run, and this is not thrilled at all. The cold front comes through. Here's a little bit of that wave showing here on the GFS as well. This is the 18Z Run, and the little wave that forms behind it is right here, and it's way flat, progressive, doesn't really do anything. It finally gets going out here, but that doesn't do anything. It actually brings a trailing wave on Sunday. This is separate, and it's also progressive with it. It keeps the southeast. So your app forecasts aren't going to show anything for Saturday, unless this changes overnight after I record this video. But as of the latest forecast at the time I recorded this video, right just before 10 o'clock, there was nothing showing here from the GFS, which means your app forecasts are going to show nothing for Saturday as well, okay? I don't know that that's correct, however, and I'm going to show you what this did. Here's the European model, and it has that wave coming out, ejecting out of the northwestern Gulf of Mexico, and then riding that boundary northeastward, and it just blows up and turns this into this pretty modest event here. And this is something that could dump, certainly several inches of snow, but maybe getting above 6 inches in some areas. All right, so this is a potent winter storm. There is no blocking, so it's fast and progressive. And one thing with this setup here, if you look at we're just above it this time. Remember we had problems with the high pressure last time, and it was too far to displace to the east, and it kicked all that warm air in. Well, not this time. Not this time. It's shown to be, you got a big expansive banana high sitting over the top of this system before this thing even comes in. So it will start to retreat a little bit, and the European model is showing that, but it's not going to be fast enough. By the time it does so, it's already up here. Okay, so this is a better setup than we had with the last one with all that sleet, freezing rain, and then rain changeover, and has a better potential to do something if this is in fact correct. And one of the reasons I do think it is correct, or it at least has the right idea, and I'm leaning this direction of storm versus nothing and out to sea, probably about a 60-40 split, that we have some impacts across our region from this, and it's not a completely progressive out to sea solution, is the European Ensemble. And this is the 18Z Run of the Ensemble. Here's your cold front here on Wednesday night, Thursday. This moves through and sets up southeast of us. And here's the Ensembles. Very enthused with a snow event for much of our region, okay? Now, this is going to move around a little bit over the next couple of days, but when the European model is dialed in like this at 120 hours, I mean, this is not like it's trying to forecast 10, 15 days from now, okay? This is a little more believable, and especially since it is a southern stream system, which the European model does better with than the GFS historically. And we just saw a perfect example of that with our last storm. GFS was for days showing this offshore, and the European Ensemble was showing it cutting inland. Nobody wanted to believe it because he wanted the snow, but the European model and the Ensembles ended up correct. They were correct, okay? The GFS up until like a day or two, a day, I think, 24 hours, it was still showing this sitting offshore as far as the Ensembles are concerned. So it has a progressive bias with the GFS, and it's not very good with the Southern Stream systems, and this is another Southern Stream system, so this could be another repeat where the European model is going to lead the way on this. If we're dealing with a Northern Stream system, those systems we had that people were noting the GFS dominated with, that's because they were Northern Stream systems. The Northern Stream is handled better by the GFS group rather than the European, so this is the opposite. This is very similar to the last storm, just maybe a more favorable track this time to get us some more snow. So we'll see what happens. There's no blocking. It's not going to be something that's going to sit here and stall off the coast. It's going to be moving, but it can certainly produce a modest snowfall. We are going to be on top of this over the next couple of days, and so should you be if you continue to follow us here on the daily forecast videos. So I don't want to get put the cart ahead of the horse. There are still things that this could certainly end up out to sea. Okay, so it's not a definite, but I'm leading in this direction at this moment. And then once we get beyond this point, Sunday should dry out. We get partly cloudy skies and cold temperatures heading into early next week. Very cold, in fact. We're going to have some temperatures not getting out of the 20s again by the time we get to early next week. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchestad. That is your outlook for January 18th, 2022. Have a great Tuesday.